Alright, هنبرا نبيوت نبشي نببنا تواب نتنوت أمين. Today we have a very special, it's a very special occasion because we have a very special guest. We have Randy as a guest lecturer. He will lead the session today. Randy is a special person. It's someone you want to become like him in Coptic, and I'm sure in other aspects of life because he's very helpful on Discord. Yeah, you want to become like Randy. And he's gonna take the floor, and yeah, he's gonna lead the session today, and I'm just gonna be listening and learning. And he expert in Sahidic, of course, and actually other dialects. But also he answers all Bohairic questions. So this guy speaks all dialects.
I'll try anyway. I try to be helpful.
Right.
Nice to meet you all. I've known about these Bohairic sessions for a while. I've watched most of the recordings on YouTube until now, and I feel like I'm fairly decent at the grammar. And I will try to do my best to help you all out and you know, answer any of your questions. That said, I guess we'd be started on the homework from last week. Would that be a good place to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one thing that makes us different than Christian cases classes. This class can run until you're done, so we don't have a hard stop.
Oh, as far as the time limit. Okay.
Yeah, no time limit. Just keep going.
Okay.
And people can run at faster speed.
Okay. Would it be helpful to share my screen for the exercises for the page in Buddhism and Torah? Okay. Okay, that should be it if I'm on the right page.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does anybody want to volunteer for the first one?
Do you want to give us a quick reminder of what we did last week?
Yeah. So last week was a discussion of the bipartite and tripartite system.
And the second present.
And the second present.
Yes.
And as far as so bipartite and tripartite, I'm trying to think of like on the spot, like a very simple explanation without getting too much into detail is bipartite has certain restrictions. You can't use, you know, suffixes with the bipartite. So in most other instances, you can put, you know, suffix pronouns at the end of verbs, you know, for past tense and a lot of other forms. For bipartite, you can't. You'd have to actually spell out moi, mof, mock, etc. As far as why they're called bi and tripartite, I think it's a little bit too grammatical to explain. It's difficult for me to explain anyway. But if any questions come up about it, I'll be happy to try to answer. And then for the conjunctive, it's very versatile. If you start with something, if you start a sentence with an imperative or a certain kind of tense or a certain kind of verb form, you can use the conjunctive form to continue the force of whatever it was. So if you have an imperative and you want to use a second verb as an imperative, you can just use the conjunctive. You don't have to use another imperative. It might make more sense once we start seeing examples. But that's the very quick explanation for that all. Perfect. And does anybody want to take the first example to translate that and read that? I'm always happy to do the first one too if there's no volunteers.
I could, but I need some help with the yo in there.
Okay.
So han hyomi e nao yo and han hibos, and do a very good job of preparing for this. So some women or wives looking probably to some garments, if that's what I'm understanding correctly.
most of that is correct. Just the verb part needs a little adjustment.
And for there, it's mostly just because they don't really know what the yo is doing there, or at least they don't really recognize the yo.
So I'll start off by saying, so the yo is a verb, and the now is the prefix part. So I'm guessing you guys already went over the preterite or the imperfect, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So,
now it's come to together a bit. So some women, I assume yo is probably the wash. They will be washing some garments.
So the verb, you got the verb is correct. It's an implied they, so you got the subject correct as well. So normally just the regular past tense would be, I think it's still ao yo in Bohairic, right?
Yep.
And then the n before it is making it, or the ni before it is making it imperfect. So it would be they were washing, now yo. And the e is that a, you might have to help me out here, Mark, is that a vocalizer, or is that a circumstantial, or is that a relative?
We didn't study imperfect coming with anything except circumstantial, so I can only guess it's circumstantial. Next lesson we'll put them all together, but this is
Okay.
Women washing, just describing them.
So would this be, it wouldn't be like a complete sentence, it would be more like a phrase, like the women having washed some clothes, or the women were washing some clothes, or women were washing some clothes. Something like that. Yeah, so either, I mean, you could say some, or you could just say women. So some women were washing clothes, or some women were washing some clothes. It's entirely likely I might make mistakes too, so anyone don't hesitate to correct me if you feel that I might be mistaken on something. But yeah, you got it, David, good job. Anyone want to take the second example?
I can try.
I can.
Go ahead.
Okay, باسمه يضافون هنخد. The form that he appeared in it.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, grammatically, that's what it translates to, word for word. You could also say it in English as the form in which he appeared. Maybe also the form in which he revealed himself. Does that also work?
Yeah, it works.
You could also probably say appeared in. I think the form in which he appeared in also probably works in English, or at least colloquially.
And etof here, so off by itself would be just the regular past tense, afun. Etof, so etof would be the relative. That's right. Okay, yeah, it's mostly familiar to me, fortunately. Good job. It was Karas. You read it, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Who wants to take the third example, or the third exercise?
I can take the third example. And sorry, I misspoke when I said we only took circumstantial before nere, and sorry, nare, that's not the case. We did cover the relative for the imperfect is usually a, or the full form ete. So I'm gonna say, so looking into question 3, ushimi e nare peshai me emos e masho. Ushimi, a woman, a nare, so that, and then we'll see that what. Nare, so something happened in the past. Peshai, her husband. May loves, her loves her imasho a lot. So the woman that her husband loved her back to a woman a lot.
Perfect.
And I mean, yeah, we can choose a call it relative, but ushimi, it's indefinite, which we don't get relative after. We get circumstantial. But the beauty of Coptic, everything is just an A, so it just works, regardless of what you.
In other words, since it's indefinite, you couldn't use ete. I don't think you could say ete nare pesai. It would have to be e nare pesai. And also,
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Since it's I think since it's also bipartite, the verb me, you have to specifically say me amos. I don't think you could say in Bohairic, would it be meri?
Minoritas.
Menrits? Yeah,
Yes.
menritis. You couldn't say that here. I don't think that's allowed.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that was helpful. Ushimi, I can say ete. Good to know. Are you saying I? Okay, we'll get to it in question 5. That's fine.
Okay. How many other participants are here, by the way? I see myself and 3 others on the screen. I wanted to make sure if there's any other participants that they read before I read an example on my own.
Just
Okay.
There's no one.
Okay. I can take. Okay, I can take number 4 if everybody's okay with that. So.
Are we having a problem?
So, ukira e nare pescere shoni. So this would be ukira, however whatever pronunciation you go with. So ukira is a widow. E nare pescere, a widow who, and then I'll explain how this works. So a widow who her son was sick. Or you can say it more correctly in English as a widow whose son was sick. Any questions, by the way, about that sentence or any of the sentences that we've done so far? Take example 5.
I'll try and take a crack at it.
Okay.
Pimesh and now ohi elratu empefkoti. Maybe I shouldn't have. Pimesh, the multitude. They. I forget what ohi is. They stand before, right? Yeah, they stand before. They go around his koti, and I'm forgetting what koti is as well.
It's if it's similar to the way Sahidic does it, you can think it's a little bit different from the way you would think of it in English. In English, you would say stand around something. In Coptic, you would say it as they are standing. They are standing at. I guess if you want to translate it literally, they are standing at his around or surrounding, but it just means they stand around him. I think I have that correct.
I'm actually a little more curious on why it's the verb is conjugating as plural, while the subject might be a few things. It's still singular.
Yeah, that's not uncommon in Coptic. I guess maybe in all dialects. It's certainly not uncommon in Sahidic. Sometimes you'll see a singular subject that, so either mesh or wanim, sometimes a subject that's either implied to be plural or could potentially be plural. Sometimes it starts singular and is referred back to as plural. That's, yeah, that's not an uncommon thing. So probably if you wanted to be really technical, maybe it's considered a mistake, but you know, in the minds of the people who spoke the language, that's, you know, it's common enough in writing that it's fine. So it would be the crowd who, literally the crowd who they stood around him. Mark or anybody, do you know if ohi in Bohairic, does that ever occur by itself, or is it always ohi irat?
It is ohi irad.
The same as Sahidic. If you say Ohi Ratu, that means stand up on their legs, and then Ahi, remember, just Ohi on its
Yeah.
own would mean the same thing as Ahi on its own. Just like stand up for something that's not stand on his legs.
Okay.
Same as Sahidic.
Okay, good to know. So yeah, that's the translation. So the crowd, the crowd that was standing around him. Any questions about that, other than the issue, like with the singular and the plural agreement? Okay. Yeah. If you think of something later to ask about any examples that we've read through, don't hesitate to ask either. Who wants to take number 6?
I can.
Okay.
Bimysterion, it's in one award. The mystery that will appear to him.
Yes. Perfect. Which is it?
It can also be passive, and say the mystery which will be revealed. Because you can say revealed to him, because to him would be the second, so it would be the indirect object. So it have to be that they will appear it or reveal it. So it's probably just passive.
Do you know if this is correct here? Et sena wonchef. I'm pretty sure in Sahidic you can only say it as et tuna wonchef.
Oh, not sure. Actually, yeah, I'm not sure. Could be a typo. Could be that's how. I don't remember what relative does. But yeah, it should be inside. It could be O2.
Okay.
This book is full of typos, so don't worry about it all the time.
Yeah, and as someone who's leading the group right now, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not the first to tell you that the book is full of typos either, and it's certainly, it's not easy for me to look up stuff, while I'm live right now, but just for it may be easy to forget too, but for future reference, it would be et tu na one chufavol. I can actually, maybe I can show some examples real quick as far as the proper way to write it. So let me present the whiteboard as well. Give me 1 second here. I'll try to share everything at once. Okay, so yeah, Pimesh, or no, this one, Pimisterion, it's in a one-chif evol. The correct spelling should be, I'm wondering if I could just type it too, if that would work.
I just checked one reference, and it's E2, so it's probably a typo.
Okay.
It's
So like that.
Mhm.
Yep. So you can't. So etuna one chef evolved. So that would be the relative form, and then this, the way it has it right now, it's in one chef evolved. That would be incorrect. I'm just going to put a star real quick to show that it's incorrect. When you do say sena one chef evolved, normally you would say so sena one chef evolved. But this is also incorrect because the bipartite rule, or the bipartite rule, says that you can't have a pronominal suffix at the end. So if you wanted to just say this as they will reveal him, let's say, you wouldn't be able to say it either this way. You'd have to say it as sen one evol, I think. So both of these with the star would be incorrect. So that's just a little feature of the bipartite conjugation. Why it's that way, I'm not completely sure, but that's the way it is. So this would be the correct. This one right here would be the correct way to say number 6. So do now one chef evol. Okay. So thank you for reading, going through that. Who wants to take exercise 7?
I can do the next one. Pi prophetes eta pimesh chutbef. Pi prophetes, the prophet, eta, which, who, or that, and then we know something in the past, eta, pimesh, the crowd. Chutbef would be from chotep, which would mean to kill or to strike. So the prophet which the crowd killed. And the prophet whom the crowd killed him.
Perfect. Yes. And now, if you notice, so chotbef, so that is allowed. That is not bipartite, since it's not a present tense, it's not a second present or anything like that. It's a relative past. So relative past works with, you're able to put the suffix. Past tense, you're able to put the suffix, just not with bipartite. Perfect. Okay. Who wants to take exercise number 8?
You can go ahead. We're going in order.
Okay. I'll try to remember the order as we go along, by the way. But so number 8 is uto et chosi, and that is a mountain, which is high or maybe tall. So it should be a tall mountain. I think this might be incorrect too, unfortunately. I think this should be win utao. Win.
I mean, it should be like if shoyu or something like that, because shoshi is like exalted or like the high ones. It doesn't like fit to like mountains and all this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, earlier in this book, for the definition, it's for Chisi, it has it as raised. Maybe it's a holy mountain.
I think, but yes, Randy, the grammar is wrong. It should be circumstantial because it's indefinite, and it's an incomplete sentence all the way to question 20.
So it should have 1 in the front, and also I think et is only for definite nouns, if I'm not mistaken, or definite or verbs, or qualitatives for verbs. So the correct way to say this would be, let me just write this. So utao et chosi. So it should be.
They're incomplete sentences. So up to question 20. So we don't need 1 just because it's so far we're just doing incomplete sentences.
I see. Okay.
But yes, your point about et and should be F or S is correct.
I think F. Yeah. So it should be uto F chosi. And regarding the choice of word as far as chosi, I might have seen it before referred to mountains in Sahidic. I'm not sure, but
It's fine.
Choi might be more common to answer whoever brought that up about the word choice there. But otherwise, it would be a valid phrase, utau et josi.
Yeah. Chosi is perfectly fine.
Who wants to take exercise 9?
If we're gonna go to order, that'd be me. Winishti and Waini. If neo episode evolchen Pachisi. A great light to it. I'm having a bit of a slow day today, so most of these I'm forgetting. In the GC, I can't remember what Chisi is.
Chisi is
This is
so
G
that-
in Sahidic.
Jisa and Sahidic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's-
JC.
So it'd be similar to, it'd be related to Chausi. So Chausi is the qualitative form of Chisi, which normally Chisi is a verb which means to be high, to be exalted, or I guess, yeah, to exalt or to be high. And then here it's used as a noun. So it would be like the high one, the exalted one.
Or maybe the heights. Or
The heights.
It can be the highest.
Or the highest.
The great light from the height. I don't.
So do you know, you don't know what neo is?
I'm drawing a lot of blanks. I've been focusing on Demotic too much. I'm a little fried.
No worries. So neo is the present tense form. I mean, it's the qualitative, but it's the present tense form of e, which means to come. So they don't look similar at all. But in a bipartite sentence or phrase like this, you wouldn't be able to say fe. You would have to say fneo.
This great light came
Or is coming.
or coming from the heights. States.
Got most of that, yeah. So a great light is coming, evolchen pachisi, from the heights. And then the only word here is, I'll give you a hint, it's a direction word.
Down is the only thing I can think of. I'm just really fried. Yeah.
You got it. So that's it. So a great light which is coming down from the heights, or the heights. Perfect. All right. Who wants to take exercise 10?
I can.
Okay.
Ulaus efsebdot cheno jokeol. A people that or which preparing in completing. That's it. That's what I can say.
Okay, so yeah, you got that first part. So a people who are prepared or preparing, maybe prepared, a people who are prepared, hen ujokaval, in, and you don't know what jokaval is then?
Jokerwood is to complete. So I think is that like maybe it's like what do you call is period or something like that. It's like it's completely preparing it completely or something like that.
Yes.
It's like a lesson that we learn.
Yes. Complete or fulfilled. I think I've also seen it used in Sahidic as like when you're talking about saints' lives, like martyrs, when you're talking about like somebody who died and they fulfilled, they completed their life. But it's literally just to complete or to fulfill. So a people who are prepared, maybe would it be a people who are completely prepared? Does that sound correct for Bohairic? Does anybody?
Mark says yes.
Okay. All right, good to know. Yeah, so Genu Jokoval, so that would be completely. So a people who are prepared, or a people who are completely prepared. Perfect. Okay. All right, yeah, thanks for reading through that. Who wants to take exercise 11?
11. Ni matetes et sop in tepen choice. Ni matetes, the disciples, et sop, who are, and then sop is a qualitative of sotip, which means to choose. So the chosen disciples in tepen choice of our Lord, the chosen disciples of our Lord.
Yes, perfect. Okay, who wants to take number 12?
Oh, you can go ahead.
I can? Okay. So, ura if ho. So this would be a king who is ho.
No, it's a typo, but it would be, think of it as the Sahidic with an omicron.
Oh, so a king who is evil, an evil king. Is that the, am I thinking of the correct word? Perfect.
It's good.
Perfect. Okay.
All right, I can do the next one.
Okay.
Apot F Shweet. The cup who is, or I guess it is empty. Empty cup. Is
Yes.
just
Yes,
yeah.
perfect. You got it. Right. I'm trying to keep track of the order as well. So, David, you just went. Do I go after you?
No, it'd be cross.
Ross?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so بنشدي إنشاء إناري نيموناكوس إصابدي إروف. The monks were preparing for a big feast. Am I right?
Let's see. It would be a relative clause, so it would be a big feast which the monks were preparing it or preparing for it. So a big feast which the monks were preparing.
Yeah, it's a rough like what do you call يشير. Yeah, it's pointing for like Binishti and Shais is for it. That's it. So like both statements are correct. Technically.
Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, I think it's fine. Otherwise, I don't think there's any typos in there. Okay. Awesome. Perfect. So I guess it'd be my turn now then. So number 15. Piromi et thou racht he pomoit. Piromi, the man, et thou racht, which they, racht is to strike, to beat, something like that.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay. So
Sarah.
the man, which they they struck on the road.
It's missing the pronoun.
Oh, right. So it should be piromi etau rachtef hipamoit. So there should be a phi right after the taf there. But yeah. So the man whom they struck on the road.
Randy, just like a quick thing, like if you
Sure.
like how like if you like went to like these words like "raq," just try like and replace what is like being shared between like Coptic, Bohairic Coptic and the East Side Coptic. Like "chai" is always replaced with "hori," so it's gonna be "rahat." No, yeah,
Yeah.
like this. Yeah, just try this. Like it's gonna be better.
Okay. Do you mean as far as the pronunciation? Because I know it would be.
I assume he means that in terms of like. I assume you're more used to Sahidic in terms of making it easier for you to make the relationship.
I see. Okay. Yeah,
Guys,
I mean-
Randy is a pro. Don't worry about Randy.
I'm always flattered for the praise.
He's
Which
he's first timer, but he knows more than all of us combined.
I definitely want to make it easier for any audience I speak to understand this. So I always try to slow down, in my own head and try to think about how somebody's trying to learn these exercises as they read them, and I try to make it as easy as smooth as possible. So it's always a work in progress. So number 16, would that be you, Mark?
Yeah, I'll go next. Piché etai nujef. Should be nuj. Etai nujef. Should be nujef. I think it should be nujef. No. Sorry, we have the pronoun. So, piché etai nojf ejem pirok. So, piché the what? Etai that I did. Noj is the pre-pronominal form of nuj. So be nudge and then nudgef, which I threw it back to the she. Ejen is onto pirok with the fire. And as Andrew likes to mention, we were able to say nudgef because it's a tripartite. Anyway, because it's a past, it's simple past, so you can use the nudgef form of the verb. That's it.
Roklich is fire and Bohairic then, so I think that's one I'm not used to, but
yeah,
okay.
it'll be the code of Kohit. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. All right. Number 17. I guess that would be you, David.
Yeah, I'll try my best. Neete now eu epicet e piordanes. I really want to say now is to see, but it doesn't seem right. But those who down to the Jordan. I really want to say look or like see, but it's not. I don't think it is.
Typo. It's no. Now.
Went down to them, right?
Yep.
Or going or coming down to the
those who were coming down to the Jordan. Yes. So this should be nail right there. There should be a knee before the eta.
Yeah.
I feel like
tripping up a little bit. I suspected it, but yeah.
I know, and it's difficult also because you don't just want to assume that every single sentence has a typo, but so far
you can safely make this assumption. Unfortunately, you can safely assume there's a typo.
Okay.
It's me.
Okay.
Okay. Bimedes now in Apostolos, which is the 12 disciples.
Yes, perfect. And you guys probably went over the numbers, even when the numbers are plural, even when they're above, 1. So 1, 2, all the numbers after that, they're never, as far as I know, you never use the plural article. It's always going to be P or D. That's just how it is in Coptic. Okay. Number 19. By shonkt matidis. These 3 disciples. Okay. Then number 20.
Next one. This is also bad. Typo. It's
Yes, it should be Shashf.
No,
It's,
no,
it's
sorry,
7.
I'm saying number
Yes.
20. So mitzvto, it should be, sorry, yeah, mitzvto should be M monasterion, not in numbers. If you put N or M, whatever falls after, does not carry an article.
Yep.
The indefinition is in the made not having an article. So the proper thing will be mitzvto in M monasterion.
Yes. This is stuff that's just, once you've been reading Coptic text for a long time in any dialect, you'll start to notice things even without thinking of it, like, even with numbers, like there's no article here before the number, of course, but you see a number, and then you see the noun after, and you see an article, whether it's definite or indefinite, you just know that it looks, you can notice right away that it's incorrect. Like you're seeing an article used right after a number, like the 14 monasteries. It wouldn't make sense to say the 14 or just 14 of some monasteries. It doesn't even make sense when you think about it. So these are things you start to notice over time. It's not something that you have to like really feel anxious about studying really, hard for. It'll just come with practice. Okay, number 21.
All right. Another Sahidism. Shash and Arche Angelos. So obviously the sigma should be a shy. So it's just 7 archangels.
Yes.
Or 7 archangels.
I don't know that you necessarily. I mean, this isn't really incorrect or anything, because there's all the hyphens are just a modern day convention to make it easier to read. But I think archi-angelos is just one word. I don't think it ever has like it's not considered 2 words even. You don't really break. That's how it is. You can break it down in Greek as like the first, like the most important angel, but in Coptic as a loan word, it's just archi-angelos, just one single word, no hyphen. But yes, Shash in archi-angelos. Perfect. Okay.
Shmin and Apod Eushoid. So that we're gonna be 8 cups that are empty.
Yes. Let's see, the 8 cups. So 8 cups. That's fine. Euschwit, I think, has a typo. I think it should be Fschwit. Like there are times when something that's singular might have a plural thing agree with it, because I know the number 8, it's plural, but used in the sentence, used in this phrase here, it's still considered like a single thing, like 8 of cups, 8 of cups. So 8 cups, and then
I have a question. So if you say
yeah.
like three men went, like around 3 men went somewhere, you would say Shumten Romi, and then you would say Au. If you want to go with like you say sorry, you say Af rather than Au.
I
So,
think so. It's as far as I know. I could be mistaken. I mean, that's what you wouldn't be incorrect if you were to say us. That might be the better thing to choose just by default. Like oh sweet here might be correct. I'm thinking it's not, but I honestly don't know. If it was me looking at this, I would assume it's supposed to be F sweet.
sounds good. I can look for examples for like Bishomt and see what we get.
Okay. Did you want us to continue reading the exercises, or did you want us to?
Yeah, no, keep going, and once it's my turn, I'll go back to it.
Okay. Right. So number 23, Meti nishti n exousia. That would be 10 great authorities. Yep, that's correct. Yeah. So exousia, Greek loanword, that is feminine. So it would be miti. So that's correct. Or meti, that's correct. So meti and nishti. Nishti doesn't change. So 10 feminine, great authorities. Okay.
I think if you have a plural number of people with numbers, you're gonna go with plural, because I remember there's a hymn Shashfin Arshi Angelos Se O Hieratu. I'll double check again for it, but I vaguely remember you would go with plural, so you would actually have to go with Eushwit as the way to go.
Okay.
But I'll double check again.
Okay.
Okay. Until then, I can do the next one. Meti Soe Ens Himi. Meti, that's 10 for feminine. Did I miss one? Oh, yeah, no. Soe is the feminine of So, which is 5, so 15. Ens Himi, so 15 women.
In Bohairic, do both of the numbers conjugate or just the met? Is this correct as it is?
Good question. I can double check that very quickly because I have it open. And yeah, according to the book, he's conjugating both the Métis and the Soe.
Okay.
Both are conjugated.
Okay. All right. Number 15.
All right, I can do the next few. Metitiu and Eho, the 14 days.
You said 14?
Right. Why shan't why now shan't Stu 5 or 15?
Perfect. Yep.
Oh, my
15 days.
bad. I guess I would have said 16. So 16 women for my answer.
Oh, right. 16 women. Yeah, I did. Good catch. I didn't catch that either. Okay. Number 26.
Okay. So I think it's like yeah, Medide in Rombi, which is what do you call? Wait, this is wait. Yeah, 15 years.
Yes, perfect. I see. What is the example from, by the way, Mark? Okay, we can continue on. So I guess it would be My turn. By the way, David, were you wanting to read a few at a time? Was that?
I think I just misspoke.
Okay.
We can keep on doing one for one.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to check back on that. Okay. So number 27, met etiu n avot. So that would be 15 months. Then number 28 would be this would be you, Mark.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So I guess we're starting the second present, so the second topic. So I guess we should assume complete sentences. So 28 if, so you looks and then the if, so if tentoni enim. Oh, that's tenton. Just that the ending is weird. Okay, so this is he compares or he is likened to whom? So to whom he compares or likens me to whom? Oh, I guess he compares me to whom? So to whom does he compare me? Tentoni from like it's
Yep.
like he did tenton.
Is that what you would expect for Bohairic as far as the suffix? So ten, ton.
No, I'm not sure. It looks super weird, to be honest, but best guess.
Okay. All right. I'll try to continue to think about that. If I think of anything to comment on about it, I'll just bring it up later. So number 29.
29.
Yep.
Eston Tashtain and very. I don't recognize tone, but the subject would be feminine, and then it would be my new garments. So
So S-tone could by itself just be a complete sentence. Tone is a interrogative. It's a question word. So
it is what, where?
Yeah, it just literally means where.
Oh. Is it supposed to be like, where is my new garments?
Yes.
Okay. That it just looked very weird to me with the S.
Yeah. So by itself, so tone by itself is like where. It's like an implied question. S-tone could by itself just be a complete statement like where is it? Where is she? Where is the feminine thing? And then the rest is just expanding on it. You're just specifying what it is. But even without all this, it would just mean where is it or where is she?
Or literally it where. Yeah. Okay. Now that makes sense.
Do I have? Yeah. Okay. I didn't have the whole screen. There we go. Okay. Number 30. Oh.
I don't think you wanted that one.
I guess Karas has to go. It's a hard question. I'm kidding. I think just internet dropped.
Okay.
Okay, I came back.
We didn't go ahead, so you can do number 30 if you'd like, Cross.
33?
30.
Oh, 30. Dinachisi Hereya Jinni Yomi Derandabi Cosmos. I will exalt you among the women of this earth. I think so.
Almost, yes. So 10 let's see, 10 Chisi. It's not
GC can be
I.
reflexive. GC can be reflexive oftentimes.
But the te wouldn't be for the pronoun I, right? It would be a different pronoun.
Yes, it would be for same as Sahidic.
So it's not I will exalt. It's it would be you will exalt for a woman. So you will exalt. I guess up upon all the women of this world.
GC can be also reflexive, so it can be you feminine will be exalted.
You will be exalted. So like it's happening to you. Oh, I see. So you will be exalted up upon all the women of this world. You may need you may not need to say like up upon in English. I'm just saying literally what it says. So you will be exalted, I guess, among, I guess like Karas said it, like you will be exalted among all the women of this world. Okay. 31. Sotnak NF2 in the Romi. So this would be an imperative. I know that so far. This would be literally choose for yourself for men, for people. The knock, I don't know if it's required. Sometimes you see it though. It's just making it more of a command, like choose for people or choose for yourself for men. Okay.
Okay, the next one. Afhei Jempikahi or Empefkim. Afhei, he fell. Ijen. So it can actually be fell upon, which means like to find. But hey Ejempikahi just tells us he fell on the floor. Owo Empefkim, and he did not move. So probably just fell on it. So he fell onto the ground and didn't move.
Can Ejin be used for find also, or is that only eh?
That's what I thought, but I remember vaguely seeing it, but it could be in my imagination.
Yeah.
I can double check for us and let you know. Oh, and about the previous thing, with about like the plural, in one of the hymns is Chashvinarshi Angelos Seo Hieratu Eu Erhymnos. So both the circumstantial for Shashvinarshi Archangelos is plural, and Seohi is also plural.
I see. Okay.
And I'll look for Ijan until it's next time. Right there.
Okay. All right. Number 33. That'd be you, David.
All right. This one I'll probably need help with. Irinai shape a pit choice at bay pefnai. I'm going to kind of start off all over the place. Pin choice at bay pefnai. Our Lord against his mercy. And then shape should be a form of shop, right?
Shop, yeah, like accept or receive.
To our Lord for his mercy. Irinai. Is nai is the nai in the for Irinai, is that also mercy or?
Oh, good point. Yeah. Okay, I'm reading this now. I think it might be a typo. No, it's not a typo, because the so pi. Let's see. There's pi with a. I don't think it's a type. I don't think it's a typo. No. So it would be.
It looks fine. It looks.
Okay. So yeah, nigh would be literally these or these
Okay.
things.
So these receiving to our Lord for his mercy? What?
I think it's Shop could be a little bit weird the way the grammar is. So I think it's these people. I think these these are received. These are received or these are taken in by our Lord due to his mercy.
Okay.
I think that's what it's trying to say. Like someone like receiving you like into their home, or somebody accepting you. I think it's
I would probably go something like so. Ere, it will be second present, so probably use a cleft sentence. But let's read the rest. Nai ship, pen choice. Nai is these, like you said, it's vague, could be like these things. Shape can also means received or acceptable. It also works in Arabic where you say something is actually acceptable. Received also literally means acceptable, ma'bul. So just like it works. So these are acceptable to our Lord. If they is about or because or concerning or for. Um, and or because and then his mercy. So it will be because and then ere makes a cleft sentence. So it will be because of his mercy, or it is because of his mercy that these things are acceptable to our Lord.
Yep. Yeah, that definitely makes more sense than what I said, but I think it was mostly close. But yeah, it's just the emphasis is just different because of the second tense there.
Yeah, took me a while to understand what it means.
Perfect. Okay. 48.
Okay, so it's 34. Okay. If وش رغد اتباب 5 وبي بندامي. Okay, so it was gonna be he wanting to strike down, and he didn't mention like M of or anyone because Benaf I forgot Benaf 5, but like
It's a
Benaf
typo. It shouldn't be enough. It would be pietaf.
Petov Yadov.
Like pietaf or pietaf. Yeah. So pay eta epsilon tau.
Because he who increased increasing like numbers against our village. That's literally like I kind of confusing this one. It's like doesn't make any sense grammatically. Like it has something that is missing, like emof in rakhd or something like that.
I'm trying to so pay a tough. Yeah, this looks like partially like it would be in Sahidic, like pentaf, but in Bohairic it would be
yes.
Pay a tough.
Yes, he just missed the T in Sahidic, but actually this typo is very common.
I think I understand most of it. Just is there any issue with the racht? I'm still trying to figure that out, or is that fine as it is?
Oh, racht is fine. It's in the pre-pronominal form.
Okay, so it would be he wants to strike me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it ends with a T, but it's also a pre-pronominal form, so it's implied that there's the object is me. So he wants to strike me because of the one who I know what it means, but I'll have to translate. It's I've, so it's literally think should the verb be
That's the Sahidic equivalent of af.
so do?
Yes.
So it would be
And sorry, more typo to fix. It would not be pietaf, it would be pietai. So what I just wrote, except to replace the fe at the end, the phi with the iota. So look at this. This would fix it.
so I guess I'm trying to figure out, so like, what is the sentence trying to say? Because of the one who fought against our village that he wants to strike me?
If you change it to pietaf, pietai, it will hopefully makes more sense.
So pe etai.
Pietai, yeah.
So that would be the one who
Not necessarily one. Could
No,
be-
it's gonna be that.
you want me to try?
sure, yeah.
Okay, so F wash, so F can either be circumstantial or second present. We will get to know in a second. If wash, so he wanting or wants. Rach, so it's two. Racht is from rocht, so to strike. But because it's racht, we know it's in the pre-pronominal form, and because it doesn't end with anything, and it's a T, so we know it. He wants to strike me or kill me. It's be for concerning about, so for would work here. Pietaf, pietai, if. So if mean is this pre-pronominal of ire, so it means because of the thing of because of that which I did it, ube is against pentimi, against our village. So that means there's no continuation for the sentence. That means F is second present. So it would be a second present cleft sentence. So I would say it is because of the thing which I did against our village. He wants to strike / kill me.
Yes. Yeah. It's more than one or two typos to keep track of at
Yeah,
once.
yeah, I know. It's an eternal pain. You just get used to them. Like now you can spot the typo. Yeah, but it's definitely a more challenging.
Okay. It would be my turn then. So 35. So euton nen speri. Where are our friends, our companions? So again, tone just literally means where. It's a question word. Euton could be a complete statement by itself. Where are they? And then here you're just giving the specific noun. So where are they, our friends? Where are our friends? Okay.
All right, I can do 26. Sorry, where's 26? Oh. Ten nasmu e pekrane chosi. Nice. Lucky I got an easy one. 10, we. Na, we will. Smu, plus or praise. That's just indication of a direct object coming after smu. Pekran, your name. Echosi, that is exalted or high. So we shall, or not shall. We will bless your exalted name or your high name. Upper code exalted sounds nicer. Just something that's up there high.
Yep. 37.
All right. Menensos de nis snel kotu e shihet. So probably after this or after that. Probably. Ani snel kotu. The brothers turned to Shahet.
Yep. Yeah, so a little bit more. So menenzos or menesos could either be just afterwards or after it. So I usually think of it as afterwards. Most of the time when you see like the men and so, when you see it with the suffix, it's usually this sigma at the end, the S. So even if it's not referring to anything else, like it's not referring to a feminine noun, it's just usually just men and so, meaning afterwards. So men and so, and afterwards, the brothers returned, literally returned themselves, but the brothers returned to, I think this is sketus
Yeah.
in English. I guess it's the correct spelling. I've usually seen it spelled without the hori, but that's what it's saying. It's saying sketus. So yeah. And afterwards, the brothers returned to sketus. All right.
Okay. So I'm gonna answer question number 38. So gonna be then sobdi modern ewa. What are you preparing for us?
Yes, perfect. Yeah, usually questions get the second tense. Yeah, so it would be literally, you are preparing for us what? But that's just the order it comes in. So it'd be, what are you preparing first? Just like you said. So perfect. Then, oh, I guess, wow, just exactly 40. Okay, so, or 39. So 39, au muti won niben et ve nu wechen eptimi nem et perikoros. So they called everyone concerning let's see, they called everyone concerning wech. I don't know if wech is just the verb here or if it's a noun. They called.
Where is what do you call to appear?
Oh, sorry. There's a typo. It should be
It's a
now.
noun. So what do you know what it should be instead?
Now. So no way should be now.
So
the imperfect.
so now wech. So aumute
Yes.
woniben etve now wech chen eptimi nem et perikoros. So they called everyone concerning
It's there is probably be ete. Sorry, another typo. It's there probably would be ete.
they called everyone who was living or dwelling in the village with so let me start over. So they called everyone who was living in the village, and the perikoros is, it's like the surrounding countryside, like the people nearby, the not like the neighborhood, just like the nearby I guess the people who are like nearby the whatever country it is. I don't know exactly what word in English it translates to.
Just surrounding region.
Surrounding region. And would that be correct for mute? Like they called over, like they summoned, they.
You probably, so it's either or in the typos. You would either say muti e because you need e, I think, before after muti, or he was trying to say mot for. He was trying to probably do the pre-nominal form of mu. For killing. No, it would be mot. Mot for kill. Or mo. Mu is to die, and then I think mot is to kill.
Yeah.
So I probably want to say melt. So probably a typo. Either the omicron becomes an O, becomes an A, or you add muti A. So one type was missing. You can choose either they call or they killed.
Probably makes more sense as a muti e. So it'd literally be. It could be passive too. So it could either be they called everyone who was living in the village and the surrounding countryside, or it could be everyone who was living in the village and the surrounding countryside was summoned.
Yeah, makes sense.
It is a kind of a shame that like there's so many typos, because it'd be easier for me, and it would especially be easier for anybody who's participating in these to understand it quicker, but it is what it is. Now, with all the exercises done, good job everyone, by the way, for bearing with me while I try to understand, what's going on with the typos. Would we just be discussing the new lesson now at this point? Okay. So would this all be new? Okay. So I do have Lambden up as well, but it might take me a bit to jump to the corresponding section to this. So I'll just see what it's covering here. So
if you want Lambden, it would be page 105 of the book, if you want.
Do you know what chapter it is? Because I don't have the page numbers on the website version.
It'll be 124, and if you're using a single page PDF, or chapter 25, or page 105 of the book.
Okay. So let's see.
You got this. So it'll be chapter 25.
Okay.
The only thing that'll be different, again, relative eta and ta. That's it. It's just eta becomes eta, and nere becomes nare.
Okay.
That's all the differences.
I'll have this open. I think I'll start with this. So like converters, is that brand new to this class? The converters haven't been covered yet.
We took them like separate. I think in this lesson he puts them all together, but every one was covered individually. The only thing that was done so far was relative before imperfect. Actually, relative was covered. That's it.
Okay. So without knowing right away like how much of this is new to you all, I'll just try to sum it up. So the converters, so relative, x by itself is just, for definite, it's just, the thing which is something. And then I'm trying to think of a good way to explain it too, because it is kind of tricky to explain without examples. But the converters always include, like, they always start with an epsilon, and there's different forms. So like relative. So relative, depending on if it's bipartite or tripartite, relative could just be et. Sometimes it's etere. It would be etere if it's if there's like another object and you have to refer back to the subject. Again, it would make more sense if I see some examples, I'll try to point it out. But et or etere would be like a relative converter. Circumstantial, or in Bohairic, Mark, do you know if it's is it etere or is it just ere by itself?
Likely a typo, but I can't tell you 100%. We will wait for examples.
Okay. Don't worry, everyone, by the way, if this is difficult to understand as well, because I know that if I were seeing this for the first time, it might not make a lot of sense. So I'll just try to give a brief summary and then show some examples. So relative, relative is just, something which did something. Circumstantial is circumstantial could either be like relative, but for indefinite, because for indefinite you can't use et. Second tense is very similar to circumstantial. I don't think there's any difference in spelling. It just depends on the meaning of the sentence. And then imperfect would just be, so nare by itself would be like imperfect, like was doing, was eating. And then you could put an e in front of the nare, and then that could be like who was doing, who was eating. That's a very sort of quick explanation of it, but I'll try to explain it better as I continue. So, and then you can use any of these with, again, it just depends on if it's bipartite or tripartite, and if it's definite or indefinite. So maybe I could just jump into examples here to try to explain it better. So Saji by itself, he spoke. Then Mpef Saji, he didn't speak, that you all know so far. And then Etaf Saji, who didn't speak, like the person who didn't speak. The negative would be Ete Mpef Saji, and you would never see it say Et Mpef Saji. It would always be Ete. There was always that extra epsilon after the Et. So Etaf Saji, Ete Mpef Saji. And now some of this might be new, I'm not sure, but so circumstantial, the first perfect, it's not very common, but it has a specific meaning to it. So afsaji would be he spoke. Afsaji would be like if you wanted to say piromi afsaji or piromi saji, you could say piromi afsaji. That would mean the man. I don't know if it would be a complete sentence. It would be like the man while speaking. So you could either say pirome afsaji, or you could say piromi saji. And then the negative would be similar. You have mpef saji. So like piromi mpef saji. And the difference between mpef saji and mpef saji, like it might be a little bit difficult to hear in pronunciation because you have mpef saji, but it just means like while not speaking, like so the man while he was not speaking. And imperfect, so afsaji is just the regular past tense again. He spoke, afsaji. The imperfect normally would be nafsaji, right? So I think so. Afsaji, he spoke. Nafsaji, just with the N, he was speaking. And then ne afsaji, again, it's not very common, but you do see it. So ne afsaji would be while he had been speaking. That's probably the best way to translate it in English. So like afsaji, he spoke. Ne afsaji, while he had been speaking. So it's like further in the past. So I think there should be three. So there should be afsaji, he spoke. Nafsaji, he was speaking. And ne afsaji would be he had been speaking. It's not always translated exactly that way, like into English, but that seems to be the differences between those three. So ne afsaji would be like the furthest in the past. And then the similar thing with mpef for the negative. So mpef saji, he didn't speak. What would it be for? So mpef saji, he didn't speak. Ne mpef saji, he had not spoken. I think that would be the difference. And second perfect is very similar to circumstantial. I think it's just written the same always. You would just have to know the difference based on the sentence. So etaf saji could mean either let's see, etafsaji could be either, well, no, actually, let's see, etafsaji would be which he had spoken. I guess there would be an object like he had spoken to somebody. So etafsaji could be either which he had spoken, or it could just be he had spoken. I might have some of that wrong. Anybody's free to correct me if I have any of it wrong, but I think it's just the second perfect is just showing that it's not a relative here. It's just saying he spoke. It was he who spoke. And then the negative version of that would be similar, except you put the n and the an at the beginning and end. So n etapsaji an. You're saying it's different. That would be different from mpefsaji. So mpefsaji just by itself would be he didn't speak. N etapsaji an would be he didn't speak, or it was he who didn't speak. Something like that. I think that would be the best way to translate it into English. Yeah, then here it clarifies he had prayed, he had spoken. I mean, the grammatical term is pluperfect. Not everyone knows that though, but it's easier just to remember. It's easier just to remember it by what it does. He had prayed, he had spoken. Here you have, for example, a af hemsi. So af hemsi by itself would be he sat down. A af hemsi would be having sat down. So it's like not a complete sentence. You're just saying, you're just giving like, you're just starting with some information and then you'll complete the sentence later. So having sat down, he wrote. So e af hemsi af scha. Should that be scha or schai?
It's a typo. It should be schai.
Schai. So af hemsi by itself would be he sat. Af schai by itself would be he wrote. So af hemsi, af schai by itself would just mean he sat down and he wrote. But when you put an e in front of it, that would be the circumstantial. So this whole thing means having sat down, he wrote. Like this by itself could be a complete sentence, just meaning he wrote. This by itself would not really be a complete sentence. You're just sort of giving a phrase, like you're just saying, you're just sort of giving the first like the prior information. So having sat down, he wrote. So like he had sat down already, and then now you're completing the sentence. You're making it a complete sentence by saying that while he sat down, or after he sat down, he wrote. So you're giving like a sort of background to what happened, and then now you're just saying what he did. So he sat down and he wrote. He, having sat down, he wrote. The future you might know about already. So the na part means you can think of it as the word will in English. So the first future is pretty simple. Sna saji. So literally he will write. Or if you do it with a noun, piromi nasaji, the man will write. And now you have the converters for, so the similar stuff that I was talking about up here, the converters for so the etere, the e, the ere, the enare, those similar things could apply to the future tense as well. You just have to learn you just have to get used to what the forms are. So na saji, so that would be he will speak. And now the same thing, but for the relative, etif na saji. So that would be which he will speak. Again, it's not really a complete sentence because that implies that he's speaking to someone or something. So if you wanted to say, you could say, for example, piromi etif nasaji emaf, or nemaf maybe. So like the man, he will speak to him. So the man to whom he will speak. But by itself, it's just the future. You just take this and you put et in front of it. So he will speak, and then this is literally which he will speak. I mean, it doesn't sound really correct in English, but you can think of it that way. When the subject is a noun, so if it's not fnasaji, but it's piromi saji, you would put etere in front of it. So et is if it's a pronoun, etere if it's a noun. So etif nasaji, etere piromi nasaji. And for example, if you wanted to change the noun, if you wanted to make it for hini, for a woman, you would say, actually, no, this wouldn't change. Neither of these would change actually, because these would be referring to an object. So if this was etifna hini instead, this wouldn't need to change to an s or a sigma. It would stay as a phi, because you're saying which he will speak. Maybe I'll just move on. I want to make it sound as easy as possible. So anybody's free to interrupt as I continue to explain this, but hopefully we'll see more sentences explaining it. So etif, et would be for if it's a pronoun, etere would be for if it's a noun. For the circumstantial, for the future, so efnasaji would be, I guess maybe in English you could think of it as he would speak, something like that. Usually it's hard really to translate into English until you see more of the sentence around this. But efnasaji would just be the circumstantial for fnasaji. And similar to this, so if it's a noun instead of a pronoun, you would say ere, but not etere. So etere is only a relative. It's not a circumstantial. It's not anything else. It's just for, so et is only a relative. Etere is only a relative. Then efnasaji would be circumstantial. So again, something like he would speak, but it makes more sense if you see like a longer sentence. And then the equivalent for this, you couldn't say like F piromi nasaji. You'd have to say ere piromi nasaji. So the man, it's like the man will speak, the man would speak. It's hard really to understand unless you see a longer sentence. The imperfect, again, so naf nasaji would be, let's see, so naf nasaji would be, in English, the best way to think of it is like, so naf saji would be he was speaking. Naf nasaji is literally like, so nasaji would be will speak. And so naf nasaji would be like he was about to speak. I think that might be a way to think of it in English, because like you're saying a past tense. So like, because this is imperfect, naf would be a past tense, like he was doing something. And then you have na, which is will. So it's like he will speak, literally. But in English, it's like he was about to speak, or he would have spoken, or he was about to speak, something like that. And then the similar thing, but for a noun, instead of naf, it would be nare piromi nasaji. So it would be like the man was, so nare piromi saji would be the man was speaking, and nare piromi na saji would be the man was about to speak, or the man would have spoken, maybe something like that. I might have that incorrect, but I think that's either close or close to what it is, or that's what it is. It's like he would have spoken or he was about to speak. And the second future, similar to the circumstantial. So I'm hoping there's no typos here, by the way, either. So second future is efnasaji. Again, the reason why it's a second future is it's a second tense. So you're just emphasizing it. So instead of just saying fnasaji, he will speak, efnasaji would be he will speak. Like you're putting emphasis on the he. It's like it is he who will speak, something like that. And then similar for with a noun. So ere piromi nasaji. So the man is about to speak, or it's the man who will speak. And then in their spelling, second future is identical to circumstantial. So the only way to know the difference is just to read the rest of the sentence. And hopefully some of these sentences here will help help it be easier to understand. So, a navok evolves. So navok by itself would be like will go. A navok would be like, so A is the circumstantial. So it's like so it's like I being will go out. So you can think of it like I being about to leave. So you can think of it as like being about to leave. So while I was about to leave, as I was about to go out, something like that. Then in English you have it here as I was about to leave. Then here there's no converters, no in front of the a, so it's just a regular past tense like you learned early on in the book. So afmute roy would be he summoned me, he called me, he invited me over to tell me something. So he called me, he summoned me just by itself. This is a complete sentence. This by itself would not really be a complete sentence. It would just be as I was about to leave. So you're expecting more information. So as I was about to leave, comma, he summoned me. And if you did different pronouns, for example, so instead of a navokaval, if you said f navokaval, it would be as he was about to leave. If you said ere piromi vokaval, that would be as the man was about to leave. Afmute roy, so he summoned me, or he summoned. I guess I would have to change to eroth, depending on what the subject is there. It will hopefully make more sense the more sentences you see. It's not something you'll probably you might not memorize it quickly. Don't feel bad if you don't. You just have to start seeing a lot of sentences in order for it to make more sense. Here's another example. So on hey eroth. On hey by itself is we fell, and then with it would be found. So an he eroth would be we found him. So that's a complete sentence by itself. We found him. And then with this, it's efnamu. So efnamu would be, so namu would be will die. Fnamu by itself without the epsilon, the fnamu by itself would just be he will die. Efnamu would be it's not a complete sentence. It would be something like he would die, or he was about to die, or he is about to die, something like that. And then this whole thing together would be we found him being about to die. That's what it literally is, but you can think of it like we found him about to die, like almost dying, like close to dying. If you try to think about it, like you just think of this as like we found him, and then this is he will die. So we found him, he will die. So it's sort of a short, you could sort of try to think about it a little bit and try to like see this epsilon in front of the subject, and then you could try to think of like what it could mean, and then you hopefully it makes enough sense. There's enough context that you can think of it as we found him being about to die. We found him being will die. I'm saying incorrect grammar on purpose just so that maybe it makes more sense if I say it in different ways. So like we found him about to die. We found him he being about to die, something like that. And then the most convenient way in English would be we found him almost dying, or we found him about to die. Okay, yeah, I just didn't want to cut off anything. So hopefully any time that the Egyptian Arabic sentences are paired with the English, hopefully it makes sense with the Egyptian Arabic. But as I continue on, let me know if you want me to explain anything more. I could try to think of more verbs or more example sentences that try to make it make more sense. But hopefully it makes a little bit of sense so far. Let me just make my screen bigger real quick. So, Naina Hemsi Ejin Bitot. So, I was about to sit on the chair. So again, this I can actually maybe just start like asking people at random, like to translate it and see how well you guys are maybe understanding this. So, for example, like David or Karas, like would one of you be willing to maybe try this out with me as I try to explain this? It's entirely up to you.
Okay, so Naina Himsi Ijin Bidot. So it will gonna be as I will sit upon the chair. We're gonna be as I was about to, but like
Yes.
this is like a literal translation.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, and does that make sense as far as the grammar? Does it make sense what it's doing?
It's like literally I can just like connect it with like Egyptian Arabic. كان عايز ابتدى يقعد على الكرسي. So like it literally means he wanted to sit on the chair, which is something like this.
Yeah. So I was nine nahemsi. So like I was going to. So you could think of it in English like as I was going to, or I was about to. So I was about to sit upon the chair. And if you wanted to do the same thing for a noun instead, that's actually a good example. So instead of nai, if I wanted to make this piromi, for example, how would I change it?
You want to make this piromi? So we're gonna be what do you call piromina hemsi ejin bidod.
Yep, and that would be the man will sit on the chair. How would you say the man was about to sit on the chair?
Like piromina hemsi ejin bidod.
It would be
Would it not be
it would be, yep, exactly. It would be nare. So instead of nai, it would be nare piromi nahemsi. I think I should have
Yeah,
that
that
correct.
makes sense.
Yeah, yep, just like up here, somewhat, but with saji instead. So nare piromi nasaji. So the man. So it's not like nare na piromi saji. It's nare piromi nasaji. The na stays with the verb, and the nare becomes before the noun. So you're just literally replacing like the phi right there, whatever the pronoun is. You're just replacing that with the piromi, and then you just add the rho epsilon. So instead of na piromi nasachi, it would be nare piromi nasachi. Is any of this worth going over as far as explaining it in either languages? Because I feel like maybe this is technical information. It may not make much sense unless we see more examples.
Yeah. We usually like just spend the time going over like basically introducing the topics, and then people can spend their sweet time reading as close as they want. So yeah,
Okay.
you don't have to go into technical details. People can take care of this. And then once we do the homework next week, that's when we'll spend more time for flesh out everything.
Okay. How long would this ideally be going like this? Because I think we started in the middle of whatever chapter this is. When would be a good place to finish this?
Just introduce the topics. You don't have to go into much details. Just so people know what they're looking at when they read, and then that'll be enough.
Okay. So you're all familiar with one. You're all familiar with mon. So one, there is.
Yep.
One would be there is not. Are these new to all of you? So the possessives. So one and tough. These are probably new. I'm guessing if it's introducing them now. Maybe not.
We cover it again as well. I just mean that's one diff. The only difference here is like adding the ete and e and ne before it.
I see. So similar to like with verbs, you can use those converters. Converters are just like those various forms that have the e with them. So like the e, et, ete, etere, ere. Those prefixes. Those are converters. And you could do the same thing with those. You could do those like with one and a mon. So one, there is. One and tof would be like, I mean, literally sort of like there is to him, but it's like he has. Mon would be there is not. Mon and tof would be he does not have. And you can make so, in addition to that, like you can modify those to be relative, for example. So you could say ete win if it's a noun, or ete win tof if it's a pronoun. So ete win, let's say ete win piromi. So ete win piromi would be one piromi would be like there is to the man, or maybe like the man has maybe. And ete one piromi would be like which there is to the man. I might have some of this wrong. I would have to see some sentences again in Bohairic. But basically, anything that you use one or one and tough, you can put ete in front of it to make it like a relative, like that which, is there, or that which he has. But you always want to remember that it's never et, it's always ete, like the extra epsilon after it. Similar for circumstantial, a1, or I guess it's a little bit different. You don't say a1 dot, you don't say a1 dot, you say one tef. So a1 would be, I guess, like there being something. One tef would be, it's either like he being there or he having something. I don't remember precisely. I would have to see some sentences for it, some examples for it. For the imperfect, similar to like nare, but instead of nare, it would be just ne. So one would be there is. Ne one would be like there had been, or even there was, there had been, just depending on the sentence. I apologize. Let me go back a little bit. So I think this is saying that the e could be used for the wintef as well. Maybe I think so. So let me just back up a little bit. So you could say ete one, or you could say ete one and tough. So you could put the ete before one, or you could put it before one and tough. The e you could put before one, or you could put it before one. So either e1 or e1tif. The ne you could put before one or one-tif. So you could say ne1 or ne1tif. So there had been, so ne1 would be there had been. Ne1tif would be he had, like instead of he has, he had. And similar with mon for the negative. So ne mon would be there wasn't, there was not, there had not been. Ne montif would be he had not had, he did not have, something like that. Once you see more words, it'll make more sense. So is that, oh, I guess that's where it cuts off on the page. So hopefully there's not too many letters in the Egyptian Arabic before that. But so as an example here, so e mon oik emal anvok evol. So just starting with the sentence that's a complete sentence by itself. Anvok evol, we left, we went out. E mon oik emal would be, so emon oik emal, so that would be there is no food, or even bread, but there is no food. E emon oik emal, you're just taking the e and you're putting that before all of this, and it means there being no food or there being no bread. So it's not a complete sentence. You're just saying like you're just giving like preliminary information. So we left, there being no bread. There being no bread there. So there being no bread, we left. So it's implied that like because there's no bread, we left. But it's not saying like et ve or anything like that. It's just saying there being no bread, we left. Anhei eroth e amon shjom or shgom emoth esaji. So this one's a little bit, so let me try to explain this. So anhe would be we fell. Anhe eroth would be we found him. So we found him, that's a complete sentence. E amon ishkum emoth, that would be so emon ishkum or ishkum, however it's pronounced, would be so literally there is no power to him, but it's like he is unable, so he can't. So e amon shugom emoth would be he not being able to do something. So he being unable, he not being able, and then this is just esaji, so literally to speak. So e emon shugom emoth esaji would be he being unable to speak. And then when you combine that with this, it's we found him, he being unable to speak. So you could just say the whole thing is we found him unable to speak. Like we found him being unable to speak. Similar with the imperfect, the imperfect is in some ways a little bit easier because you could just think of just this ne, putting the whole thing in the past tense. So uromema would be the man is there, but of course you need the one before it because it's indefinite. So one uromema would be there's a man or a man is there. Ne one uromema would just make the whole thing past tense. So one uromema, there is a man. Ne one uromema, there was a man. Or even a man was there. I mean, it's the same thing. Naf wantif hanmesh an eso. So wantif by itself would be he has, like present tense. So wantif would be he has. Wantif hanmesh an eso. He has many sheep. He has there's Han, so it's not just umesh. So you can think of it as like he has lots of sheep. Maybe is the way you can think of it in English. So he has lots of sheep. Naf, Wantef, Hanmesh, and Esau. He had a lot of sheep. Although this, I'm not sure if this should just be ne by itself or if this should be not. Let me actually go back real quick because it doesn't say up here. So Wantef, ne one and tef. I think it actually just might be ne by itself and not. I don't think it's not one tef by itself. I think it should be ne one tef hanmesh in Esau. I could be wrong, but I think it's just ne because the 5 part here, the subject is already saying that it's he has. There is to him a lot of sheep, and so you just be taking this whole thing and you're just putting in the past tense. So ne, wentaf, hanmesh, and Esau. So it was he has a lot of sheep. He had a lot of sheep. So again, could be mistaken, but I think this is supposed to be ne instead of naf. But otherwise, the imperfect is pretty simple. You just make it ne. Nare is for verbs, and then ne is just for like other constructions like one or mon. Okay, so these are new as well to use. So you learned about copulas already. The petene, usachpe would be he is a teacher or it's a teacher. Ete in usachpe would be, let's see, in English it would be, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this in English because
That is teacher.
What was that?
Which is teacher.
You could think of it that way. Yeah, it's hard because it's like when you see a longer sentence, it's easier to translate. It would just literally be which is his teacher. Yeah, I guess it would just be which is his teacher. But I know it sounds kind of confusing when you say it in English by itself like that. But if you say, let's say if you have a longer sentence, and then at the end of the sentence you say, ete benusachpa, it would be something, 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 which is his teacher. I hope there's no typos with this either. I'm hoping that's correct. So ete usachpa. And then for the negative, similar, but you have the n and the an, and the an always goes before the pe. You never put the an after. So ete enusach an pe. So you have a sentence, something, 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 which is not a teacher, who is not a teacher. Similar for circumstantial, but it's just an e. So relative, you always have et or ete. Circumstantial, you never have et or ete. So it's just e or ere. So e usachpa. So e usachpa would be, usachpa would be he is a teacher or it's a teacher. E usachpa would be like he being a teacher or it being a teacher. So I don't have a Bohairic example offhand, but like you see this with Sahidic for simple things like if you want to say like you're reading the book of Job and you see something saying like, there was a man, his name being Job. It would say like, e uran pe Yov. So it's like if you wanted to say like Newin usach amal, so like there was a teacher, and you wanted to say like there was a teacher whose name was Randy. You would say like Newon usach amal e uran pe, and then the name. And then for the negative, you'd surround it with n and p, and again, you'd still keep the an in front of the pe. So n usach an pe. So it's like literally he not being a teacher. If this was Sihimi instead, you would say n ushimi an te. She not being a woman. Or if it was a shten or something else that was feminine. So shten, I think garment. So en u shten ante. So it not being a garment. So it's not a complete sentence. It's just circumstantial. Like almost always implies that it's like information that you might put like in parentheses as like background, but it's not a complete sentence by itself. It's you would expect more information. So Euronpe would be like his name being, but if you see it with a longer sentence, it would say like, whose name was, but then you put the name after that. So Uromi e af ket ue. So ue by itself is a house. Af ket ue, he built a house. Then ket is here in the pre-nominal form. So instead of kot, you say ket with an epsilon. So af ket ue, he built a house. E af ket ue, he having built a house. Uromi e af ket ue. This could mean a man having built a house, or maybe even a second tense, like a man who had built a house, something like that. I'm not too. Sometimes these are even tricky for me to keep track of, because usually I don't make my own sentences. Usually I'm reading texts that are from the Bible or that have already been written by people hundreds of years ago who they knew their correct grammar. So when I read it and I'm trying to figure out what it means, I can read the sentence and I know like, okay, it probably means this is probably circumstantial. This is probably second tense. So a lot of the time you might be able to figure it out based on context. But these are in general, they're tricky to remember. So hopefully it just gets easier with time, the more sentences you read. Similar here, but with na, so like for the future. So, u mysterion, a mystery. Eu na one huf evol. So na one huf would be will reveal, na one huf evol, will reveal him. Eu na one huf evol, they being about to reveal him, or if it's passive, it being about to be revealed, or he being about to be revealed. And since mysterion is masculine, mysterion euna wonchef evol. So a mystery which they are about to reveal it, or a mystery which is about to be revealed. Anything like that, any variation of that would be fine. Ukira e emontes sheri emal. So ukira is widow. Emontes is it doesn't have or she doesn't have. Montes sheri emal would be by itself, she doesn't have a child or a son. E emontes sheri emal would be she not having a son. And then it's montes because it's agreeing with kira, widow, which is feminine. So ukira e emontes sheri emal would be a widow not having a son, or even a widow who doesn't have a son. Since kira is indefinite, you wouldn't be able to say ete emontes. You'd have to say just e by itself. So e emontes. So she doesn't have a son. And then ukira e emontes sher emal. A widow who doesn't have a son. So then this is a little bit different because it takes two, let's see, one, so ushere e ukirate defmao. So this might make it easier to understand these, like a copula sentence with ete or e. So ushere, a child or a son or a boy, e ukirate defmao. So ukirate would be she is a widow, it is a widow. E ukirate would be she being a widow or she who is a widow. And let me make sure I have this correct before I read anymore. So a boy who she is a widow, his mother. So hopefully there's no typos with this either, but defmao, his mother, e ukirate defmao. So ukirate defmao would be she, his mother. So ukirati defmao. His mother is a widow. E ukirate defmao would be his mother being a widow, or his mother who is a widow. And then ushere e ukirate defmao would be, I just want to make sure the English is correct too. So you see it's so it's not te here, first of all, it's te. So you know it has to be agreeing with the kira. It's not agreeing with sheri. So a boy, e ukirate defmao, who his mother is a widow. The order of the words maybe is confusing. I'm not sure. Maybe just depends on the language you're coming from, English or Egyptian Arabic. But the whole thing just says a boy who she is a widow, his mother. But in English it would be a boy whose mother is a widow. When there are times when the word order is confusing, you could use, the gender to sort things out. That usually helps me. Like I know te couldn't agree with shere. It has to be referring to kira. So that's something that helps me, but it's still confusing even to me sometimes. So it's just something you'll get used to with time. The conjunctive. So the conjunctive, I don't know if anything has been discussed about it yet, but it's the thing. It's a.
No, this is new. We have never touched anything about the conjunctive whatsoever.
Okay, so conjunctive is it's very versatile. You can use it for. You can think of it like "and" in English, but it's just continuing. If you have more than one verb, let's say it's continuing what the first verb was in the sentence without using the same prefix. So if I say do something and do something else, I could just say iri, like iri empai, I guess iri empai. Nta iri something else. Sure, there will be sentences here. So, and I'll show you the difference depending on what the subject is. So, nta saji would be literally "and I speak." That's how you can think of it in English. But you would normally never see like a conjunctive used at the beginning of a sentence. You'd usually see it somewhere in the middle of the sentence. So nta saji would be "and I speak." Ntek saji would be "and you speak." Nta saji would be "and you speak" for a woman. Ntef saji would be "and she speaks." I think that's supposed to be an e. So ntes Saji would be and she speaks. Nten Saji would be and we speak. And then similar Ntetan, Ntu. I'm not sure if both of these are valid. Ntu Saji, Nsa Saji.
I know in Sahidic it's Ense, so I'm not sure. Also, let's assume it's a typo until we see it in an example.
So more than likely the Nsa is the correct one and the Ntu is the typo.
Ense, yeah, Ense is the one in Sahidic.
Okay. And similar, if you're just using a noun, you just take this, but without the subject. So Nte Piromi Saji would be and the man spoke. Or and the man, it doesn't really, I don't think it has a tense really in the technical sense. You could just think of it like and the man speaks. It would just depend on the verb that comes before it. So you'd have to see more of the sentences in order to know how to translate it. And to use
Okay, so I think like what you're trying to me is like it's like something in Arabic, which is like when you say let's say an example like Christ is risen, truly is risen. Okay, مسيح قام بالحقيقة قام. The bil
Oh, no.
like
It has
yeah.
no equivalent in Arabic. No equivalent in Arabic.
Like
This is purely Coptic. This is your unique Coptic. No equivalent in Arabic.
okay.
Not Arabic and not Egyptian. They're very, very separate. So that's why you just have to learn on its own. It's very confusing, but you get like Randy said, with experience you'll see often and you just predict it. But don't translate to Arabic because it also gets used in so many very different ways.
as a stem as a word, has that been discussed yet?
I think we saw it somewhere before. I also don't remember where, but something else takes negation with shtem. It's basically the Bohairic equivalent of the Sahidic tem. In Bohairic just becomes shtem, I think.
Yep. So in order to make the negative of the conjunctive, so if you wanted to say, and the man doesn't speak, instead of saying nte piromi saji, you would say nte. You would say, I think it's nte shtem piromi saji. Then if you want to say, and I don't speak, I think it would be inta shtem saji. Hopefully there's some sentences here that make it a lot more clear. So tinavok, literally, I will go. So that by itself is a complete sentence. Inta saji namaf would be, and I speak with him. I mean, if this was just by itself and you didn't see any other words, you could think of it as meaning like, and I speak with him, like what, future tense. It doesn't really imply past tense or future tense. It's just whatever the tense is of the information that came before it, the conjunctive continues. So instead of saying Tina Vok, Tina Saji Namaf, you could just say Inta Saji. So you don't have to say Tina, you could just say Inta. It's just implied that it's Tina. So Tina Vok, I will go or I shall go, and I will speak with him. So you're not seeing like Tina here specifically, but the Inta, the conjunctive, is just carrying the same meaning with this. So instead of saying Tina Vok, if it just said go, like a imperative, like go somewhere, like it could just be, if you're talking to an imperative, you would be speaking to you, like Ntok. So if you wanted to say like go and speak with him, you could say Vok Ntek Sajinamov, because it's an imperative. So you know that you're talking to you, like a man or a woman. So Vok Ntek Sajinamov. Then here, and then in that situation, the Ntek would be the conjunctive still. You would still know, or it would be an imperative. It's like you're not you're not writing, you're not like rewriting stuff. You're just pointing out that it's additional information. You're carrying the same sort of, if this is will, then this is, if this is a command, then this is a command. So I will go and I will speak with him. And oh, there's actually an imperative example right here. So MC intek sotum e tasvo. So intek sotum by itself would just be and you listen. Not a lot of information by itself, other than just, I mean, there's some information, but it's not complete. Hemsi by itself is just a command, you know, sit or sit down. Hemsi intek sotum e tasvo, be sit down and listen to my teaching. So you could say, you know, hemsi, and then sotum e tasvo. So even without the intek, it could just be, you know, sit down, listen to my teaching. But if you want to make it like more connected, you would say hemsi intek sotum e tasvo. So sit down and listen to my teaching. So it's used, you know, with, so the conjunctive is used, you know, like with, it's used with future tense. It's used with imperative for commands. It's also used for the inflected infinitive. So hotiron by itself is, you know, it is necessary for us, or, you know, we need to. Etrenvoke would be in order for us to go, or that we go. So hotiron etrenvoke. So it is necessary that we go, or yeah, it is necessary for us that we go. Enten saji nemath, and we speak for him. That's what it would literally be. So it is necessary for us that we go and we speak to him. You could think of it as it's implying and that we speak to him, but it's just carrying the same force as the etre here. So it's necessary that we go and that we speak to him, or with him. You could also use it with, even when there's a change in subjects. So here you have an imperative of ini. So ini is bring. Anitif would be just a command, like bring it, or bring him. Anitif roi would be bring it to me, or bring him to me, as a complete sentence. And then intonawerof would be and I will see him, or and I may see him. And with the whole thing combined, it's bring him to me and I will see him. But you can think of it as like, it's not necessarily an imperative in this sense. It's just more like a, you're talking about like a, how would you call it? Like a, you're sort of like a, it's like a purpose. So like, bring him to me, and then instead of and I see him, it's like and I see him, so that I see him, in order so that I may see him. So it's like, in order for me to see him, bring him to me. So bring him to me and I see him, but it's more casually, bring him to me so that I may see him. Similar here. So mano would be, let's see, into sotem. I'm hoping all this is spelled correctly too. Ma would be give, like a imperative, like give something to something.
Into mano is fine. So no is actually how you do it in Bohairic. Into, it's either this or ense, but now that we see into, I'm gonna guess it could be a variation of ense. So remember when we said it's probably a typo? Maybe not, because he's explicitly using it in an example.
Okay.
So that's my
and
guess.
then the no here is that's for like now in Saitic, right? Like to them.
Yeah. Yes, this is perfectly, like, this is how it is in Bohairic.
Okay. So Mono by itself would be give to them, and there's an implication of an object. Here food. So give to them. That could be a complete sentence by itself. Just give to them. And then here you have to wom. You could think of it as by itself as and they eat. And then when you combine the whole thing, it's give to them, give it to them, give food to them, and they eat. So give food to them, and they will eat. Give food to them so that they may eat. So like you're giving a command, and then you're doing the second part with a conjunctive showing that it's like an expectation. It's a purpose that you're wanting it to happen. So give them something so that they may eat it. Except it's, fewer words. Let me see if there's something I'm forgetting here with some of these impersonal expressions. So, yeah, I don't know if you've seen all of these, but I'm sure you've seen some of these. So, she is like proper.
We did the first four. We covered the first four.
First four, okay. These last two are Greek ones. So, ananke is it means like necessity or need or urgency or something in Greek, and it's like it is necessary. And kriya is similar, like it's a need, it's necessary, it's a requirement. I'm guessing they mean like the same thing even in Egyptian Arabic. They look similar there. So use, so I'm guessing it's going to show an example with those. Yeah, so must. So hoti nte epsheri epromi shi inumesh in chisi. So
Hoti is the Bohairic for Hapis in Sahidic.
Hapis, so like it is necessary, it is proper, it is law. Yeah.
I'm curious if you know, I guess, because you can say Hapis, Hapis erok, but it seems like you can also use this. So we can use either the conjunctive or the causative after Hoti.
Yes.
Do they mean the same thing? It's just a matter of choice, or there's like a nuance in the meaning?
I think they might mean the same thing. I'm pretty sure I've seen both. I've seen causative infinitive and I've seen conjunctive.
Okay.
If I recall, like from one of the reading classes, I assume they mean similar things. So here you have a little bit of an interesting one. So hoti is must. Sheri imepromi, the son of man. Let's see, take many as okay. So here's the conjunctive. So, and it's a noun instead of a pronoun. So hoti nte epshere impromi. So that whole thing would be, it is necessary that the Son of Man, and then you just finish the sentence. So it is necessary that the Son of Man receive many suffering or much suffering, or you can think of it as the Son of Man must receive much suffering. Depends how you want to translate it. But yeah, you'll see, these kinds of impersonal words. It's called impersonal because it doesn't really like agree. It doesn't, by the word by itself, like hoti or she, it doesn't really agree by itself with like a gender or a tense or anything. It's just, it begins the sentence and it's just, it's necessary, or it's necessary to the Son of Man that he suffer, take many a suffering. Again, the word order is maybe a little bit different than you might expect depending on what language you're coming from, but you get used to like just seeing words like these, impersonal words, like must, necessary, possible, proper, lawful. you get used to seeing words like this, like hoti, she at the beginning of the sentence, and then you naturally start to think like, okay, it's saying like it is necessary, it is lawful, it is impossible, it is, you know, something must happen, something should happen. And then here you have more. This would be, so it's still on the topic of conjunctive. So like,
Those are new to us.
these are new? Okay.
Yes, because they're strictly after conjunctive. The previous ones, we saw them before because you can use the causative etre, but these are only for the conjunctive, so we haven't seen them yet.
Okay. I think most of these are Greek words. I'm not sure about. I can't remember if Hina is a Greek or Coptic word, but Shah is a Coptic word, J is a Coptic word, and then the rest of these are Greek.
I think Hina was. I remember we discussed it because we saw it in Gospel of Thomas where we saw it as Sheena, and I think we realized it's Greek, but somehow it became Hina and Sheena.
Oh.
I think the only one that I can think of are the last two as Coptic.
Okay.
But they're very common in at least the first one, second one are very common in hymns. We always say Hina intifkanan Hina intifkanan.
Yeah, you say to be Hina.
Yeah, Tob Hina. Yeah, yes. Hopos. We use Hopos a lot. Hoste, I don't remember. And then J a lot, and Shah intif. Shah intif Soti. And then J, I'm sure there's J's everywhere. But yes, they're very common. First three, last two are very common. The last two are Coptic.
And the way they're used in sentences, you know, they're conjunctive words. So like anywhere, like in English, anywhere that you would, most of the time you would expect things like a or, and, but, as long as, in order to, like sort of words or phrases that sort of connect two phrases, you could expect to see words like this in between. I mean, if they're there at all, they don't always have to be there. It just depends on the sentence. So here you have, so ajos impai oni. So ajos here's a imperative, it's a command. So ajos impai oni. So speak to the stone. It's a complete sentence by itself. And then ntef, let's see, okay, I see. Ntef oik. So, and it will become bread, and it will turn to bread. So this is the conjunctive. So, and he will something something. Oik is become bread or turn to bread. So by itself, it's and he will turn to bread. And then this is, you know, speak to the stone. So speak to the stone, and it will turn to bread. But optionally, you can have in between je. So you can very specifically say that or so that. So speak to the stone so that and it will become bread, or just so it will become bread. You might have more sentences too with that, but maybe they'll come up in the exercises.
Yeah, that was actually very helpful. Thank you so much. This lesson is one of the most confusing ones that I have encountered when I went over it, and thank you for the very thorough explanation.
Yeah.
It's it's the problem with this lesson is like it does none of the stuff we covered before translate literally or exactly to either English or Arabic that I know of. So it was always like you kind of need to understand it the Coptic way, but now that it was broken down, really like it was really well. So it's stuck a little bit better.
Yeah, and like I consider myself pretty good at like grammar and linguistic stuff, but like I'm still not like that. I'm not like that good as like maybe like other like people who have a background in linguistics, but I still, even for my own sake, I try to explain it in a way that I think I would understand if I didn't understand this at first. So I definitely approach it from that kind of direction. So vocabulary here. So okay, so it's
don't worry about it. We ignore it.
Is that something that's typical? You always just ignore the vocabulary?
People do it at home. Yeah, study before. I never explained it unless I find something interesting, which is very rare.
Okay. With that, then it's just the exercises. Okay.
Yeah. Can you scroll a bit more down? Do we have a reading comprehension after? Because Landon does after this lesson. Oh, we
wow.
do. Nice. I wonder if he translates it. Yes, he did translate an actual Sahidic text. Okay, next week will be fun.
Anyway,
Well,
this is from the Archimandrite. I know it. This text.
nice.
Perfect. Hopefully the fact that this is an actual text means that there's no typos in it. So hopefully it'll be fun to read or fun to learn from in terms of grammar. So yeah, with that, I guess there's nothing else to cover for this session.
What was
Unless
the
anyone has any
conversation in regards to the difference between the Coptic and Bohairic for what? I think you mentioned something about like ensa, or for like ensa instead of enta for like the conjunctive.
A conjunctive Sahidic uses ense, and for Bohairic uses both ense and into. They're both interchangeable, according to the book.
So if my Demotic textbook is correct, even though it likely just pronounced how they are now, it apparently comes from like M2, which is just like which eventually just becomes ento. So that's so.
I mean, if you were to see N2, you would know that it's the conjunctive. I don't know if there's anything else that takes that form.
As in, like earlier stages, it was something along the lines of M2.
Oh, in terms of like how it evolved through the language.
Right.
Oh, that I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, though. Even in Sahidic, you have for like the third person plural, you sometimes have u, like du, pu, nu. Sometimes you have se, like nse. There's
the transliterations for those is like st.
Yeah, it's I guess the way it evolved. Like there were certain grammar patterns in which it changed one way, and other grammar patterns in which it changed another way. But yeah, it is something that's definitely noteworthy. For everything that I covered so far, are there any questions about it right now before the session comes to an end? Looks like no. Okay, perfect.
They never ask questions once after we're done with the homework. So yeah, don't worry. They never ask me anything.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, like I said, I always appreciate the encouragement to to even try this for the first time. All the typos notwithstanding. Hopefully, some of my explanations for this stuff stick. But again, if you don't understand it the first time, don't worry. I mean, even when I was learning Sahidic, like I didn't learn correctly or learn properly everything on the first try. Like I reread stuff several times on my own before I got it. So that's not unusual if that happens to you. So, I have faith in you all that, you'll be able to learn this, the more you read text and, just have fun with it.
Thank you so much, Randy, for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, thank you all, by the way, for showing up, all of you.
All right. That's we're done. Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, guys.